What's going on, wrestling fans? Jeff Upson. I'm with Eric Knopfner. You are now tuned into the PA Power Hour. And Eric, we've got a ton to go over here tonight just about the PIAA and the the state tournament or the state postseason. That's going to be vastly different. These are only proposals, but we are going to talk about them. We are going to talk about them as if they are probably going to happen because there's a good chance that they do, depending on how things go with COVID-19. So they're drastically different, but we are going to talk about them. We're also going to talk about the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club event from last night. But first, Eric, you got internet. How did that happen?
How awesome is this? I've stepped into like 2000 now.
I mean, what's it been like for you with internet?
It's been a struggle. There's no doubt about that. It's been a lot of time on my cell phone and sort of can hotspot things. But like last night, the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, I had to watch it on my phone because that was all I could do. There was nothing I could do as far as the put it on the TV or even on the laptop screen. I had to go small screen and watch it that way. So it's obviously there are worse things in life, but after you've had internet for this long, going without Wi-Fi is kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. And you were without it for like what, how many months was it?
Well, we moved in here in July, and it was supposed to be done in August, and so we're 3 months past the date that it was supposed to get in. So it took a long time, but finally got there. And now I'm excited to be able to do the podcast from the new studio without trying to set up my cell phone on a tripod and do all kinds of crazy stuff that way. So we're almost there. We got a camera headed this way where we can have the fixed camera and the fancy mic stand like you've got.
That's right. You can be in the big leagues finally.
Completely outfitted here soon.
Hopefully. I mean, you've got the nice setup. You've got a lot better setup in the basement there. And it's funny because you were pleading with Comcast, and it turns out that you didn't really have to go too far because apparently you have a long-lost relative that works for Comcast, and they're the ones who installed it for you. It's a small world.
Yeah. As much as, Knob Snyder is not a very common name, especially where I went to high school at Berlin, and the kid or the guy who installed it for me was a Knob Snyder who was on the team with me at Berlin, 25 years ago. So pretty crazy that it ended up being a former teammate that was doing the install for me.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, and it's definitely a small world. And Knob Snyder's not a common name, so I'm sure, especially out that way, I feel like there's.
Well, actually, all the Knob Snyders that exist in the world, they're like all in Somerset and Cambria and Westmoreland County. Like there's nowhere else. There are like 3 on the West Coast, and that's about it.
So you guys don't travel too far.
No. We found a place and we just stayed here.
You just stayed there. Okay. Well, you did get to watch the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club event, the November 24th event, right, Eric?
Yeah. I was able to watch it last night. Some good matches there. I mean, I don't think it stacked up. That the first one that they did was phenomenal. This one's still some good stuff, but not quite as intriguing. I don't think. They try to play it up, obviously, but some matches that weren't that exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and I got to catch most of it, and I did think that the production value of it went up. I think they did some changes. They brought in some lights. I don't know if they switched rooms at the hotel or not, but they had some overhead lighting. They had that kind of lighting truss where the wrestlers would walk out of. I don't know if there was smoke or not, but there was definitely lights. So they definitely were working on the production value. I don't think these events are going away anytime soon. I think we're going to continue to see these types of events. And you're right. There were some very big high-level matches, and then there was this kind of lopsided matches, right?
Right. And, well, the one thing you didn't mention is the MC, too.
Right. Yeah, the MC for sure. And we got to see Willie Saylor back.
Yeah. Awesome to see Willie. We've talked about the Willie trials, and what was going on there. Still waiting the verdict on that, but awesome to see Willie on camera, on the mat, talking to guys, doing intros. Just great for wrestling to have Willie back.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely excited to be back and at the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club event. Vincenzo Joseph filled in for David Taylor to broadcast, to do the color with Jeff Byers. I thought Chenzo did a great job. He had big shoes to fill because David Taylor was getting a lot of love for his commentating, Eric. What did you think of Vincenzo's what did you think of his broadcast abilities, Eric?
I thought he was pretty solid. I mean, I don't know if that's the first time he's been behind the mic, if he's done it before, but I thought he was pretty solid. He gave some good insight into some matches. Not quite at David Taylor's level yet. I thought Taylor was phenomenal whenever he did it, but a nice job by Chenzo.
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he did well, and overall, like you said, the matches they kind of went as expected. I would think. It started out at 100 or actually 67 kilograms. Nick Lee, Tech Fall, and Brandon Wright. That was a pretty easy match for Nick Lee. Would you agree, Eric? He looked pretty sharp out there.
Yeah, he looked
Brandon
great.
Wright's.
I mean, I love Nick Lee. Going back to, I remember when who's number one, Sammy Sasso,
right.
and just the way he just attack. Love his style.
And we got to follow that up with a former Penn State wrestler, Nick Neville's, coming in at heavyweight. He gets a Tech Fall. And you said, I didn't miss this match, Eric. What happened in this match?
Mario Carenti was leading almost the entire time. And I don't know what the final time was, but final 30 seconds, I think Nick Neville's is pushing, gets a takedown, goes directly to a leg lace, and ends up with a 12-2 Tech Fall. But I mean, it was really a situation where he was in kind of desperate straits there. He needed a takedown and went out and got it and ended up getting the Tech Fall.
So, and in fact, we saw him wrestle Jordan Wood, and kind of similar circumstance with Jordan Wood getting the win late over Nick Neville. So, kind of flipped the script there for Nick. Then Joe Lee pinned Zach Hartman in 21 seconds. I missed this completely because I'm
guessing a lot of people missed it completely.
Yeah, probably you're right. So what happened here? Because
I don't even remember how he pinned him. I know he went out and obviously took him down right away. I'm trying to think I think he might have gone bow and arrow and turned him that way. I honestly don't remember how he did it, but yeah, it was obviously really quick.
I mean, Hartman is, I don't know if he's known for his freestyle prowess. I don't know if he's wrestled. I don't think he's wrestled a lot of freestyle before, but I mean, he's a tough kid. He was ranked top 10 in the nation, I believe, for at least a little bit last year. I'm surprised to see him, get pinned that quickly by Joe Lee, but everyone up in Happy Valley has really good things to say about Joe Lee. So I guess we shouldn't be that surprised, right, Eric?
No, Joe Lee's a guy that I think we're going to see a lot of, in the next couple of years there in a Penn State uniform and doing some great things for the Nittany Lions. Up at 74 kilograms, we had two guys with, international experience in Franklin Gomez and Boris Novachkov. This one was interesting to me. Not two guys that you necessarily associate with Penn State, being a Michigan State guy and a Cal State Bakersfield guy, but it was like I said, two guys that have that experience. And Novachkov, I think, got the early lead in this one. I know in the first period he was leading, and then Gomez was able to come back and put some things together and get a 7-4 victory there.
Yeah, it is interesting because you don't look at them either as Penn State wrestlers, like you said. It's kind of funny to think of them, and I can remember Franklin Gomez wrestling in the NCAA finals, and it's interesting to see them in two, now one at the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. So up at 86 kilograms, Max Dean wrestled CJ Brucky and beat him 13-4. That was before we got to see Gabe Dean. Max Dean looked pretty good. He's got really heavy hips, man. He's big. He made Gabe. He's giving Gabe a run for his money in size. Would you agree, Eric?
And CJ Brucky is not a small guy.
No, he's not.
Means. And yeah, I thought Max Dean looked really good there. Just really kind of controlled this match most of the way.
And then we had 176 pounds. We had Nate Jackson wrestling Michael Beard, and this was kind of. I wouldn't say one-sided because Beard was kind of in the match, but
see, I came away impressed by Beard. I mean,
really?
The difference in age and experience, I really thought Nate Jackson, the way he looked in that 8-man bracket, I thought, okay, he's just going to run right through Beard, who was a late replacement. Remember, this was supposed
Yeah,
to be
true.
Bo Nickel. And they're like, okay, Bo's not going to go due to COVID protocols, whatever. And so we're going to throw Michael Beard in there. And I got to say, I was impressed with him. I mean, for a young guy, Nate Jackson has been there, done a lot of things, to go in there and hang with him. I mean, I thought Michael Beard really did a nice job in sticking with him. I'm sure he would have liked to have gotten some points on the board, but 7-0 isn't. I would have expected worse, honestly, going into it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see your point that especially how good he looked in the 8-man bracket, the U.S. Open. So I can see your point about him maybe possibly blowing through Michael Beard, especially because Michael Beard hasn't even wrestled in an official college match per se for the Nittany Lions. So I can see that, but I don't know. I really have high expectations for Beard, and I think I don't know. I don't want to say his gas tank, but if he's able to close out matches, I think he's going to be a real threat. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. I thought we could have seen him keep it a little bit closer. I was hoping he would get score some points on him at least, Eric.
Yeah. Like I said, for just kind of picking it up late and jumping in there with a guy with all the experience and wherewithal of Nate Jackson, I don't have a problem with that result for Michael Beard. It was good for him to see someone at that level and see how he does, and obviously pick up some things that he can work on for the future.
Now the next match was the match that I was most excited for. This was the one that I had really wanted to tune in for, and that was Carter Sturaki versus Chance Marsteller. Two, just buzzsaws when it comes to Pennsylvania wrestling. Carter was a 2-time state champion. Of course, Chance is a 4-time undefeated state champion out of Kennerdale. Ended his career at Lock Haven, All-Americans. Carter is kind of that next man up and replacing Mark Hall. I thought Carter looked really good, and I thought Carter looked big. I thought Carter just looked strong. Definitely a little bit more polished with probably conditioning right now than Chance is, but I was very impressed with Carter. And not that Chance didn't wrestle well. He did wrestle well. I just think Carter looked bigger. I don't know. Did you seem like there was a size difference for you, Eric? Because I did.
I didn't notice that. First of all, I 100% agree with you. For me, this was the real highlight match of the night going in. Like, David Taylor, Gabe Dean, obviously they're well established, and we know what's going on there. But this was the most intriguing one for me because just to see Carter Sturaki taking on someone who's 4 years older, whatever it is, 5 years older, and has that experience. To see this was one I was really looking for. And when Chance got that takedown, I thought, okay, let's see what Carter can do here, how he reacts. And he just kept pushing, got the takedown. I think it was in the second period. He got it. I think it was 2-0 after one, right?
Yeah.
And he got the takedown in the second. And then Chance, being behind on the last point scored, really kind of tried to push things and ended up giving up a takedown there that was, really good tactics by Carter. He knew he had the lead, knew that just stay in solid position, and was able to score on a go behind there to get the 4-2 win. So yeah, this was I didn't notice the size difference, but you're right. Now that I think back of it, I mean, Carter definitely did look big, but I wouldn't have said that he was bigger than Chance. But yeah, you're right. He looked solid. He certainly was not small.
Yeah, and Chance is, I mean, he's just built so differently than most humans, so it's hard to judge him because he's like a fire plug, he's just so compacted, and he was able to do things with his legs last night with bending and flexibility.
Yeah, he's got the rubber knee going there.
Rubber knee. I mean, I agree with you. Carter never looked flustered. He never looked like he was in a tizzy at all, and he just kept cool, calm, and collective. He did what we are so accustomed to seeing him do, and that was grind out wins. He's been in those types of matches before. In fact, he wrestled Zach Hartman in one of those matches in the state finals. And we've seen him on the freestyle level so often. Fargo, right? I know you and I were very impressed with him at Fargo. He's got it, and I'm really excited to see where he goes in his career at Penn State, because I think sky's the limit. Even hearing him afterwards, he wasn't really impressed. He just kind of was like, hey, it's another match. I'm just here to wrestle. I'm just here to have, to put on a show, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with Carter. I admit he's one of my favorite guys that we've covered over the years. That as you said, going back to Fargo, whenever we kind of got to know him there, he's always been one that I've kept an eye on no matter what was going on, and just happy to see him doing well there. And I agree with you. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in a Penn State uniform.
Yeah, I think everyone up in Happy Valley has high expectations for him. You heard Vincenzo Joseph talking about it on the broadcast, how he's that guy he's fighting for every minute every second in the room. He's doing all the right things. So I'm happy to see him perform well, especially against a guy like Chance Marsteller. That's a pretty big match for him. 59 kilograms. The only women's match on the card was Jennifer Page, and she took out Lauren Mason 10-4. I think Jennifer Page has been on. I feel like she's been on every card. Maybe she's been at least 2 cards, right, Eric?
Yeah, I know she was on one before, but yeah, she looked, kind of the same MO too. Like she goes out and gets taken down, and you're like, okay, maybe this is going to be trouble here, and then just keeps plugging away, and before you know it, she's got a 10-4 victory.
Right. It seems like her MO is just hey, give up a takedown and then just blow it out the rest of the way.
Probably not what she wants to do.
Probably
but
not.
That's the way
but that's what happens. 57 kilograms. Thomas Gilman, formerly of Iowa, now at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. He got a tech fall over Frank Pirelli, former Cornell wrestler who's been on the freestyle circuit for, I feel like, ever. Thomas Gilman, he looked good. He looked really sharp. Kind of what we expected from him, but he's on a very, I think, good trajectory for where he wants to be, looking at the senior level and where he's been making world teams before, looking to make his first Olympic team. And he called our boy Spencer Lee after the match, saying he wants him in the next match. What did you make of that, Eric?
I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Frank Pirelli. You're right. He was, very solid wrestler at Cornell, and he's been around for a while. But I mean, was anybody really like, man, I want to see Thomas Gilman and Frank Pirelli wrestle?
No, you're right. Probably not.
This is what we expected. If Gilman doesn't get a tech fall here, I think we're all going, man, what's wrong with Thomas Gilman? I think this was a match that he did what he was supposed to, but I don't know that calling out Spencer is exactly what he should be doing. But that's just me. I've never liked that style of. And I know that's kind of the thing now. Everybody's talking trash on Twitter and calling each other out and all this because it's good for numbers and getting subscriptions. But, I'm old school. I don't like it. And you could tell it was kind of set up that Willie's like, who do you want to wrestle now? And, it was a given that he was going to say Spencer. There's a reason why Thomas is at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, though, and not at Hawkeye Wrestling Club. He felt from the beginning, I think, that Spencer was the horse that they were going to ride with. And so he's obviously, it's personal for him. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, and he has said before, it wasn't personal and it was what's best for his family. And I think, it was a little forced, the call out. But it's just interesting to hear because I know I'm still just not used to seeing Thomas Gilman in a Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. Like it doesn't make sense.
Well, we are used to him calling people out. That's
we're not not familiar with him doing such antics, right? Him and Tony Ramos have just made, they're notorious for certain things, and whether it's a stare down or whether it's just speaking completely bluntly like Thomas Gilman does, it just seemed a little forced, and it seemed a little, I don't know. I just still can't fathom that. But then again, look what happened with Dan Dennis and Tony Ramos when they were both at the Iowa, Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and you saw what happened there, and some falling outs, if you will. But I don't know. I definitely wouldn't want to tug on Superman's cape. Not saying Spencer's Superman, but I definitely, he's going to have a tough enough time with him wrestling him. I don't know if you need to give him any extra motivation, Eric.
I'm not, I mean, as great as Spencer is, though, he's not someone that seems like he wrestles better when he's mad. I mean,
No.
I don't know that I've really seen Spencer mad. You've watched him more than I have, but he just always seems like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go out here and do what I do, and
yeah,
there never seems to be an angriness to his wrestling.
I mean, well, I think he likes to inflict pain and win, but
Right.
legal pain, right? He always talks about legal pain. But hey, that'd be great. I'd love to see that match happen. I don't know if that'll ever happen or not. At least on one of these cards, it'd be nice to set that up. The other big match, in my opinion, was the Zane Rutherford and Reese Humphries match. That was, and it was chippy right from 5 seconds in. Reese kind of gives him a nice little, hey, welcome to wrestling, smacked him right in the face, like that. And Zane just kind of did the Kyle Dake, like, what's this about? What did you think about that, Eric?
I mean, Reese again was kind of out there saying some things on Twitter, and I didn't see anything from Zane. I don't know, maybe he did respond, but my impression of Zane is kind of that old school approach, like, I don't need to run my mouth on social media. We'll step out on the mat and see what happens. And Reese had said, oh, it's been a long time since Zane's been thrown on his head or something like that. See what it's going to be like. And he made some other kind of comment, like whenever Reese was wrestling, that Zane would have been like a semifinal or a quarterfinal matchup. But, I mean, to me, that's disrespectful. I mean, Zane was good no matter what time or weight he wrestled in.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind seeing Zane go out there and put a 10-0 beating on Reese.
Yeah, and he really did. I mean, he say what you will about Reese Humphrey and what he what he's been able to accomplish in his career. Now, remember, he has not. I don't know the last time he wrestled in a senior level match. It's been a while. But he was very well accomplished in his own right. But
oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Again, Zane. I mean. Yeah, Zane's not some chump and some, like you said, some guy that a quarterfinal match. Come on, come on, Hodge Trophy winner, get out of here. But Zane took care of business, man, and Zane looked good doing so. I'm always impressed with him.
He's just so solid.
He is.
There's nothing, I mean, you don't get the big throws out of him. You don't see, he's not like in folk style. He was so dominant on top. And you don't see that, but I mean, he's always in good position. He finishes so quickly, he's fun to watch.
He really is fun to watch, and I agree with you, Eric. I just think he's always in a good position. He's fundamentally really good at wrestling. He nothing like extremely flashy, especially in freestyle, as opposed to folk style where he's known for his top game. He still definitely gets some turns in freestyle, but I don't know. I think he's on the right path, and I'm excited to see him, especially destroying Reese Humphrey like that 10-0. Whether he
did you hear Chenzo say that his first practice at Penn State, Zane rode him for an hour and a half, just like he couldn't get out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that whatsoever. It's pretty cool to hear that, because those are all things I'd love to know the insides of the room, and like Chenzo said, just not being able to get out. That sounds like a very Zane Rutherford thing to do. And then, of course, it ended with a bang. David Taylor, Gabe Dean. Man, the Magic Man looked good, but he looked human, right? Gabe Dean, I think everyone left there saying, man, Gabe Dean's he's no joke, right? What was your takeaway from that match, Eric?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'll be the first to admit I'm a huge David Taylor fan. I mean, to me, David Taylor is what wrestling should be. Whenever you're better than a guy, you go out, you pile up points, you pin him, you tech him, and you get off the mat. David Taylor has never been a guy, going back to his college career, you didn't see many guys stick within a couple points of him that weren't really, really upper echelon guys. If he's better than a guy, he goes out and he destroys them. And I kind of expected that last night. Now, that's not a knock on Gabe Dean, but again, Gabe had kind of taken some time off. We hadn't seen him in a long time, and we thought, okay, this is, kind of a reunion tour for him. He got caught in the flow bracket, got pinned there. and we know that he's super solid fundamentally and hard to score on. But I still thought, okay, this is David Taylor. He's going to go out, he's going to get a 4-0 lead in the first period, end up winning 8-10-0. Nothing too difficult here. But that was not what we got at all. I mean, Gabe Dean stuck right with him. It was 4-2 late. And Gabe Dean, if he could have gotten a takedown where he was in, he gets a takedown there, he's probably going to win the match. But, give David Taylor credit. He's able to fight it off, score a takedown of his own, and get the 6-2 win. But this is not what I expected out of David Taylor. I got to say, my expectations are a little higher for him, that I really thought that he would put up more points than this on Dean.
And I don't think you were alone in that assessment. I really don't. I think a lot of people were under the same impression that was what was going to happen. And like you said, Gabe Dean really, he pushed the pace, and he was very close to potentially winning that match. So I would agree with you. A lot of people, including myself, are high on David Taylor, and we've seen him perform at such a high level for so long now, it seems like, especially on the freestyle scene, that maybe we were surprised to see someone actually hang with him. But I think that's a testament to Gabe Dean and what he's been able to do in his short time back wrestling. And I think it's pretty cool. And I think David's probably pretty happy just to being pushed like that and be in situations like that. Because if you just go out and destroy everybody every time, what are you learning? What are you getting out of it? And I think he had to dig deep for a few minutes out there. So good for him to have that match under his belt. Gabe Dean's definitely not going away, though. I can tell you that much. I think. Sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to ask you: does this change your what you expect if we do get the Jordan Burroughs David Taylor match? Does it change what you think you'll see in that?
No, I mean I don't think so necessarily. I don't think the size isn't necessarily the thing to look at here. Two completely different styles of wrestling between Dean and Burroughs, obviously, but I think, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from a JB and David Taylor match. I just not at this point, just because they're two different wrestlers than the last time we saw them. I would say they're vastly different wrestlers from the last time we saw them wrestle against each other. Burroughs has changed his game a little bit. David has certainly changed his game and his size. So I don't know what to expect. But it sounds like it hasn't quite been secured yet, Eric. It sounds like
we thought that it was a done deal, but now David's kind of saying that Jordan still hasn't committed to it, I guess.
Okay, well, Jordan did quite a bit of talking, so and quite a bit of mic dropping on him. So I'm kind of surprised to hear that, because you would think that they would make this happen and make it happen pretty quick. So, hey, I don't know. Do we need to get involved, Eric? Do we need to?
We've offered. PA Power will definitely take this event on and give it a great show on Rockfin.
Well, I thought it was a great performance last night by the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. I thought it was a great production. I hope to see a lot more of these. I think we will, especially with the uncertainty of the season. But overall, great event. And with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the potential changes to the PIAA postseason. These are some big ones here, Eric. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is The Tactical Mind, and I work with athletes in the field of sports psychology as a cognitive performance coach. Within 5 minutes of talking to a parent, they make the connection right away that this would be great for my kid to have when they're in college, when they're just going through the ups and downs of high school. Who wouldn't benefit from having more self-awareness? Who wouldn't benefit from having the ability to self-regulate our emotions and our counterproductive thoughts? Who wouldn't benefit from having more optimism, not just on the field, but in life?
And remember, you can visit thetacticalmindllc.com, use the promo code POWER, and receive 50% off your initial consultation with Nick Fuller. Definitely, if you haven't already checked it out, go to tacticalmindllc.com, watch some of Nick's videos and see kind of what he's doing. I know he's doing a lot of great things in the Lewisburg area. So, and he's all virtual as well. So, definitely make sure that you check out the tacticalmindllc.com. Eric, there's been a lot of speculation about what's going to happen with the season, but before we even talk about the actual season, the PIAA has put together. I don't know. I don't want to put words in people's mouths. I don't know if it was the PIAA itself or the Wrestling Steering Committee. There is a proposal out there. There's about the postseason. Should there be a postseason in Pennsylvania? The state football championships, the fall championships are this weekend. So after that, I think the PIAA just kind of wants to get that over with and get that done and then move on to winter. We talked about it last week. A lot of teams aren't even going to be competing until January. They're going to be practicing potentially in December, but you have to have 15 days of practice in before you can compete. So there's a lot of uncertainties, there are a lot of unknowns. However, I am actually impressed that we've seen this proposal, and they're already kind of thinking, because from what I was told earlier was, hey, the postseason's not even in the realm of things we're talking about or discussing right now. So the fact that we're putting pen to paper and having a plan come together, that makes me feel a little bit more optimistic about the potential for a individual and team postseason, Eric, in Pennsylvania, because right now, with the way things are, especially with our capacity limits in Pennsylvania, it's not good. A lot of events are going to be crippled because of this, because of the new surge in cases, but also because of the capacity limits that were imposed by the PA Department of Health.
Yeah, I think you made a couple good points there. First of all, the fact that they've looked at this and they've done their homework, they've figured out, okay, here's what we're going to do. Situation A, whether it's 2 mats at the state tournament or 3 mats or 4 mats, here's how we can do it with 8 qualifiers. Here's how we can whittle down, from 12 districts down to regions and super regions, and then the PIAA tournament. And here's how we can make it all work, where we're not putting 300, 1,200 fans in one building and trying to have everybody there and do it safely. So the fact that they've done all this, as you said, they've done their homework. I think that's a great sign that they're at least saying, hey, we want to make sure we get this postseason in. It may not be exactly the way everyone wants it, but we want to make sure that we crown some state champions in Hershey and are able to do that. On the other hand, I think that looking at this, they may be saying, yeah, we might not be able to do those December tournaments. We might not even be able to do December duels, but let's push it back a little bit. Let's figure out what we need to do so that we have those, at least beginning in February, where we can start that march toward Hershey and that postseason tournament.
And really, Eric, you look at the way the schedules have been shaken out. Most schools, I would say majority of schools, if they do have any events scheduled in December, they are only dual meets. And January, again, kind of up in there. You're going to have a lot of teams that are just now getting back into competition. So I'm very impressed with just the way that it panned out. The first thing we're going to talk about is the team tournament, Eric. And it's interesting because not a lot's changed with the team tournament and the proposal. So I'm going to put up a series of screenshots on the screen here to kind of go over and talk about what they plan on doing with the team tournament. But it's not much different than we've seen in years past. It's just the way that the sites are set up. So if you look at the PIAA state tournament for the team tournament, what it's going to be is over 4 days, but with a variety of different sites. So on Monday, where this is typically a play-in day for like District 7 will wrestle District 8 champions and so on and so forth. You'll have different play-in matches. This is kind of the same analogy, except after your district tournaments, once the district champions and placers are all figured out, we're going to go in and start with the round of 16. Okay, so you have a round of 16, and the top team in the bracket will host that. So, for example, if you look here in the AAA, the District 1 champion will wrestle the District 3 third place. They'll host, the District 1 champion will host 12-1 versus 11-2. 12-1 is going to host. 3-1 versus 1-3. 3-1 host. 11-1 versus 2-1. 11-1 host. So that's the East region. That's your East round of 16. Then you flip it over to the West in AAA. You got 7-1 versus 8-1, which again, that's something we've seen year and year. We've seen the District 7 third place team wrestle the District 8 champion for years now. 7-1 will host. Then you have, this is what's kind of interesting to me, Eric, and we talked about this a little bit before the broadcast, but District 1's going to have 2 representatives in the West Division, which is, it's kind of weird because they're not a West district. So you have 1-2 versus 3-2, and it's going to be hosted at the 1-2 school. 6-1 versus the District 4/9 champion, which is going to be hosted at the District 6 champion. 10-1 versus 7-2. The District 10 champion will host. So those are your 2 regional breakdowns, if you will, of the district, or I'm sorry, the AAA team tournament. Not much is different in the AA. So 3-1 versus 11-2, 3-1 host. 2-1 versus 4-2, 2-1 host. 4-1 versus 3-2, 11-1 versus 1/12 champion. And then, of course, in the West, you have 7. Now, in AA, it works because you really don't have a team that's not in the, quote, West part of the state. You got 7-1 versus 10-2, 9-1 versus 6-2, 10-1 versus 7-2, 6-1 versus 5-1. So that is only Monday for the team, what we'll call regional tournaments. Now, you look at that's 8 different matches for each class, and each one's hosted at a different site, right? So we're going to have 16 different sites, right, for the Monday, which is good because we don't have multiple schools at multiple sites. You're only having 2 schools at one site. So that is a good thing, Eric.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just to go back real quickly to let the folks know, you mentioned about the East team that's going to have to come West. Part of that is because of just the differences. I've seen it in my time as a sports writer. It happened a lot in basketball and baseball and things like that. There are not nearly as many small schools in the East or large schools in the West. So it kind of gets a little strange when you're trying to balance out a team bracket. And so I know quite a few times District 6 teams in basketball, the third place team would be traveling 3 hours to the East instead of going, to the West, which would have been a little bit closer. So that's kind of the thought there, is just to balance that out, the different number of teams in each big school and small school division. But yeah, I like the idea. I mean, we talked a little bit off air that, it didn't used to be that everybody would go to Hershey. You would kind of break it down in this, you'd wrestle it at home sites and then, kind of move on from there. And only the top teams would go to Hershey. So I know it does stink in a way, because I think that experience is pretty cool for teams to get to go to Hershey and wrestle in the Giant Center, because you've got a lot of guys who might never make it there to individuals, but still get to experience that, wrestling on that big stage and in that atmosphere. So it is cool for those guys that might never make it there. But again, we've said it many times before, we'd rather see some kind of adaptation of a postseason than not have it at all.
Yeah, you're right, and I was definitely on the receiving end of that, having wrestled in the Giant Center for the team and not on the individual level. So definitely beneficial, but at this point, we'll take whatever we can get. So that was just Monday, and then you go to the Wednesday matches. This would be Wednesday, February 10th of 2021, 6 p.m. quarterfinals in both AA and AAA. So your winners of the round of 16 will face each other. Again, same concept. The team at the top of the bracket host. So, for example, in the East of AAA, you have the 1-1 versus 3-3 winner versus the 12-1 versus 11-2 winner, and the 1-1 3-3 would be the host team. So you can go down and look at, Class A East, Class AAA West, Class AA East, and Class AA West, and it's the same concept throughout. So you're whittling down the bracket just in, smaller chunks. Again, you look at the number of matches here. There's only going to be 8 matches being wrestled in this round of the quarterfinals, and that means there's only going to be 8 sites too. So same thing with keeping the safety in mind. And you also got to look at capacity limits, because if our capacity limits are still as they are currently in February, we're gonna have some real challenges to get these matches to take off in schools. Just want to throw that out there, Eric. So we should definitely keep an eye on that. Now, that's Monday and Wednesday, both at alternative sites, or both at places that are most likely are going to be high schools. Now let's take a look and see what it looks like when we break that down even further. So now you got the PIAA State Tournament, okay? This is interesting because before AAA and AA would wrestle at the same days. This time, after that quarterfinal round, you're whittled down to the semifinals in AA. So Friday, February 12th, 4 p.m., you got the semifinals. I'm assuming the Giant Center, because that's probably where the contract is. They probably can't go anywhere else other than the Giant Center. So you have 2 mats in the Giant Center, and you have your semifinals matches wrestling at the same time. 7 o'clock, you keep those 2 mats down, but one is the finals, the other one is the consolation finals. So it would assume that the semifinal losers are just dropping down to wrestle in that 3rd and 4th place match. AA is all on Friday. Now Saturday, you come back in and you have AAA. Again, 2 mats, 10 a.m. on Saturday, semifinals for the AAA. Winners advance into the finals. Losers go down to the consolation finals. That's at 1 p.m. Again, 2 mats. So you don't have any more than 2 mats at a time in Hershey for the state tournament. I like that. I think it's a very feasible plan, and I think it doesn't deviate much from the previous years. So I'm excited about that. I think that's very doable and very feasible. So I hope we can at least get that done, Eric, because that's a lot less than the individual tournament we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, I think they did a really nice job here of figuring this out. I mean, it's not much different than what you see in other sports. Wrestling has always been one that you could bring all those teams together in 1 or 2 or 3 days and spread it out and have a bunch of teams there. But, basketball playoffs work like this. You play at the one school hosts in the first couple rounds, and then you take the final 2 to Hershey and play the championship game there, and that's it. So this is a pretty good solution where you've got those 4 teams in AA and 4 teams in AAA going there and going to decide those top 4 spots.
Now the individuals are much different. So let's start out with that real quick. The AA sections. So let's go to AA sections. The proposal is for AA sections to be February 19th. Now there's only District 3, District 4, District 7, and District 10 that actually in AA that actually have section tournaments. So, and you can see the amount of schools in each one of those districts for their sectional tournaments. So, District 3 has 2, District 4 has 3, District 7 has 3, and District 10 has 2. So that's AA sectional tournaments. Not a whole lot of difference there. Nothing different than we've seen in the past, but it's just the number of entries. I'm not sure what there's 17 schools in District 3-1. So are you going to have are these going to be 17 or 16 man brackets plus 1? I don't know. I'm not sure. That there's nothing on there about the number of entries. I would assume they have to let them all in.
Yeah.
But those are bigger brackets than we'd probably be expecting. So I don't know necessarily how that's going to pan out. But what I can tell you is that of those wrestlers who qualify for the district tournaments in AA, this is what we're looking at. So you have District 1/12. They have 11 teams. They get 2 qualifiers to go on to regions. District 2, 3. District 3 has 4. District 4, 5. District 6, 3. District 7, 3. District 9, 3. District 10, 5. District 11, 2. That is not a whole lot of qualifiers in the brackets, so to speak, for the district tournaments. I'm a little bit concerned about where this leads when we go into the regional tournament, Eric. This is, because you're talking.
Do you have any? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you have any understanding how they came up with the qualifying numbers? Because I guess that just has to do with what region and super region you're in, but it just looks a little strange when you see District 4 with 32 teams gets 5 qualifiers, while District 7 with 36 teams gets 3. It seems a little strange there. And I mean, and we get this all the time. Even in the old system, the normal system, if you will, we always had the complaints of, oh well, District 7 and District 11 don't get enough. They should have more because somebody gets left at home. And yeah, that sucks, but that's kind of the way it works. Is eventually you're going to have to cut it off at some point. But I just looking at the numbers here, that old system was always okay. The districts with the most schools get the most qualifiers.
Yeah, I don't, and I think it goes back to the super region and where you fall in the super region. So let's just pull up the regions here. So the regions for AA, the Northeast is District 2 and District 4, 13 teams in District 2, 32 in District 4. The entries, right? So they have 3 entries. So your district tournament for District 2, you get 3 entries. District 4, you get 5. So I'm assuming District 4 gets 5 because they're not in a region with District 7. They're in a region with District 2. So, 5 and 3 for an 8-man bracket makes sense. So I think that kind of answers your question there. Southeast, you got Districts 1 and 2, 12. You have District 3 and District 11. So of those, you have 2 entries from District 1, District 12. You have 4 from District 3 and only 2 from District 11. That's like, to me, is like kind of crazy. Of those 3 or 4 districts, 5 will make it on to the super region. The Northeast region, 3 of those 8 will make it on to the super region. Now the Northwest region is District 9 and District 10. The 3 and 5. So just like District 2 and District 4, District 9 has 3 qualifiers. District 10 has 5 qualifiers. 3 of those, the top 3, move on to the super region. Now this is where it gets a little bit dicey because of the, like you said, the amount of schools versus the amount of qualifiers. District 5 only has 10 schools. They get 2 qualifiers. District 6 has 27 schools. They get 3. District 7 has 36 schools. They get 3. So you're only getting 1 more than the district with 10 schools in it. I could see some people being a little salty about that.
Oh yeah, and I'm right in District 5. So the initial proposal that I was hearing is they were only going to get 1, and they were kind of freaking out about that. It's like, man, how do you convince a heavyweight who has Jalen Stevens in his district that, yeah, it's really worth you putting in all the time and effort this year when only 1 guy's going to go out of there, and nobody in District 5's beating Jalen Stevens.
I get that, but I mean,
no, I know.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
There's no easy answer.
There are plenty of times we see that District 7 4th place guy take out a District 5 high place winner right early on.
Yeah,
So
no, you're right.
It's certainly not a perfect system.
So,
but my eyes glaze over every time I look at this. So kudos to the men and women who sat down in a room and said, okay, let's figure out a system to make this work.
I love it, man. I love it. I when I looked at this, I was like, man, this is great. Like, I would enjoy putting something like this together. So
does this mean I only have to do 8 rankings in each weight class?
That's not how it works, Eric. That's not how it works. So you look at this, and it kind of starts to make more sense. So you have 3 qualifiers from Northeast, 5 for the Southeast, 3 from the Northwest, 5 from the Southwest. So this is where our super region then comes into place. So I'll close this out, and I'll bring up the super region in AA. Super region in AA looks like this. You got the super region of the East and the West. The East is Northeast and Southeast. 3 qualifiers from the Northeast, 5 from the Southeast for an 8-man bracket. The top 4, so you got a 50% shot there, right? If you're top 8 at the super region, the top 4 end up going to the state tournament. In the West super region, you got the Northwest and Southwest. You have the combined schools of 118 in the West versus 112 in the East. Northwest has 3, Southwest has 5 for a total of 8. Again, 4 qualifiers move on to the state tournament. I think you're starting to see a little bit of a trend here. We got 8-man brackets. Now let's look at the state tournament. Individual, March 13th. March 13th for an individual state tournament for the AA. That is in 1 day. Now, we're not going to go into the mats and because they have different proposals for different mats. We'll get into that in a little bit. East region has 4. West region has 4. Combined, you have 8. Boom. You wrestle. I'm assuming they're wrestling to top 8. I don't know. Maybe they're already doing top 4. I haven't really figured that out yet. I haven't looked into.
I think that depends on the mats.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that depends on how many mats. So as of right now, the proposal is for only 8 people to make it to the quote state tournament, right? So 8 people, 4 from each super region to make it to the state tournament. Now, this is in Double A, okay? If you look at the time schedule for the Double A tournament, now this is a proposal with 4 mats. Now, again, they have proposals for 3 mats and 2 mats. I'm only looking at the 4 mats because I think that makes more sense. It would be wrestled in one day, okay? So Friday, March 12th, you have the quarterfinals, semifinals, first round consi. Then you have quarterfinals, semifinals, first round consi for the heavy. So you split the weights up. So 106 through 138, 145 to 285. You split them up by different, time schedules, and then you come back at 6 o'clock in the evening on Friday to wrestle all of them. You have your second round consis, parade of champions. So after that second round of consis, we know who's going for 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th. You have your finals and consolation finals all on 4 mats, and that's it. So you wrestle it from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. your state tournament from triple or for Double A in one day. I know that was pretty fast, but Eric, what do you make of that?
Again, I know I've seen some people that are upset about it and saying, "Oh, this isn't fair." These kids there's a 5th place finisher in the Whippeal could place in the state, and that's absolutely true. But the simple fact of the matter is we're living in a different time right now. And again, I keep saying this, but I would rather have a system that isn't quite as good as we would like it than no system at all. If we can have 8 guys standing on a podium that's 20 feet long, I guess it would have to be 48 feet long to space them out, at least they're getting there and they're getting that, and we're getting a postseason. So hopefully, we keep saying it, maybe this will clear up by then to a certain extent, and, it won't be as bad, and we can have closer to what we're used to than an 8-man bracket. But an 8-man bracket is better than no bracket at all.
100% agree with you. And, I think people have a day. I think you can have a day to complain and whine. I'd use another word, but this is a kid-friendly show. You have a day to do that, and then just stop, right? My old boss at the training academy has a sign up in his office that says, "Nobody cares, work harder."
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that because you can go on Facebook all you want and cry and complain, but nobody really cares, and you're just going to have to work harder. Could the 5th place finisher in the Southwest region make it to the state tournament place? Yeah, sure. But if you look at the parameters, you got to be top 2 of District 5. Okay, I got to be top 3 at District 7. I know what I have to do in order to advance. So if you don't finish top 3, so be it. I mean, again, I'm with you 100%. I would much rather have an 8-man bracket than a 0-man bracket. So, again, you get 24 hours, complain, do whatever you have to do, but then just shut up and support the system and make it work because, the kids that are put in the work, you're right, they deserve a shot. Don't take that shot away from them at all. So, that's Double A. Let's go to Triple A. So, Triple A sections, kind of similar because only a few districts actually have sections. That's District 1, 3, and 7. District 1, 3, and 7 have their own section tournaments. Of those, they're going to have 8 qualifiers from each section. So you're going to have 8 move on to the next phase, if you will, the district tournament. But not much is different here than it has been in years past with the district or the AAA sections. Now you move on to districts in AAA. The districts, now this is February 20th. You have District 2 with 14 teams. 2 qualifiers move on. District 4 out of District 9, you get 7 teams, 3 move on. District 6, 8, you get 3. District 8, you have 6 teams, you get 2. District 10, 6 teams, you get 2. District 11, 21 teams, you get 3. So if there's going to be anyone who's complaining, there's District 11, folks. You're only going to have 3 qualifiers move out of districts, move on to the region tournaments. District 12 has 18 schools, and they get 3. So if I'm a really good kid from District 11, and I'm on the cusp, I'm probably going to move to a District 12 school like George Washington.
You're going to be ruled ineligible, Jeff. It's not going to happen.
It's going to happen. And then, I'm definitely going to win this because District 12 is not nearly as strong as District 11. I can't wait to hear people complain about this. So this is the AAA districts breakdown and what it looks like. Now, the regions, again, not a whole lot different than what we've seen in the past. The Northeast is District 2, 11, and 12, which we've seen before. The difference is the amount of entries here. District 2 gets 2, 11, 3, 12, 3. So again, 8-man bracket, but District 11, District 12 get the same amount of qualifiers, which is going to make people's heads go boom, right? Of those 8 wrestlers, 4 get to qualify to the super region. The Southeast is a self-contained region. It's just District 1. You have 8 entries from those sections tournaments. 4 of those move on to the super region. South Central, same thing as District 1, self-contained region. You got 8 qualifiers, and 3 of those of the region tournament move on to the super region. Northwest, a little bit different. You got you got 5 regions, 4, 9, 6, 8, and 10. Of those, you have 10 wrestlers in that bracket. So this is kind of a little bit more wonky, right? Because you're going to have 10 people in this bracket as compared to 8, like we've seen before. But that's because you have literally 5 regions. So District 7 gets 3, District 4 and 9 get 3, District 6, 3, 8, 2, and 10, 2. And out of those, only the top 2 end up going on to the super region. So you have more qualifiers for the region, but you only have 2 that move on to the super region. Southwest, much like the South Central and Southeast, 8 qualifiers, 3 move on to the super region. I would say that's pretty good. If District 11 and District 7 both have 3, neither one can complain because they both got the same amount of qualifiers, because that's normally the debate is the District 7 versus District 11, Eric. So that is
those are the 2 that have the depth. And like I said, we've heard that argument for years that you find every now and then you'll get a state place winner that doesn't make it out of the WPIAL because they only get 3. But that's the way life works. It's not always fair, unfortunately, and sometimes you learn that at a high school age.
Eric, you're still in the process of learning that, right? Because you just you just asked if you could only do 8, and I said no, Eric. Life's not fair. Okay, sometimes you gotta do more than just 8. All right, so super regions for AAA. Again, same concept as we talked about in AA. You've got 4 entries from each region. Northeast 4, Southeast 4 for super region in the East. So you've got Districts 1, Districts 11, District 2, 12. All in that East super region. Each one has 4 qualifiers for 8 total entries. Of those, 4 move on to the state tournament. Okay, so you could have 3 guys from District 11 make it to the state tournament, potentially, right? Because of well, actually, it'd be interesting to see how they draw up the brackets. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking of like seeding for these brackets. Please, I'm just going to say it now. We can help with seeding. Please don't screw this up. Only 4 qualifiers from each district into the region, then region into the super region. So this is what we see. We got Northeast and Southeast in the East. On the West, this is where, again, people are kind of a little bit up in arms about, because you're going to have Northwest, South Central, and Southwest all in the same region, super region, should I say. Northwest has 2, so remember, only the top 2 from the Northwest make it to the super region. South Central, which is District 3, has 3. Southwest, which is District 7, has 3. So, again, in theory, you could have 3 wrestlers from Southwest region make it to the state tournament, right? So, you got 4 qualifiers from each super region that make up the 8 that make it on the states. Your chances of making it to the states are dwindling as we speak, Eric. Now let's look at the state tournament. For AAA, again, East Super Region, West Super Region, each has 4, total of 8. Even I can do that math. Here you go. The top 4 in each Super Region make it, and you have 8 wrestlers that are going to be competing for a state championship. Now, same time schedule as AA, except we're pushed back a day. So AA was on Friday, AAA is on a Saturday. Same concept. Now, this is only the 4-mat schedule. There is a 3-mat schedule and a 2-mat schedule. I'm not even going to get into the weeds with those because we have no idea what mat situation we're going to deal with. But same thing, 106 to 138, 145 to 285. They're split up, and then they come back together for the evening round session for the finals and consolation finals for a total of the number of matches there. You can see how many are going to happen, 39 and 13 for the finals. So that's it, Eric. That's Again, it's not perfect, but you know what? It's not a perfect year. It's not a perfect world. I'm excited that they're even breaching the conversation of talking about the postseason. I honestly didn't think that we were even going to talk about the wrestling postseason until after football was over. So the fact that we are now sitting in November and talking about a potential postseason, I think that is great news. I feel very optimistic about it, Eric. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Honestly, you talking about this and breaking it down has really gotten me excited, because I start thinking, man, these regions and super regions, they're going to be awesome matches there that really, really matter. I mean, you could argue before that some of these postseason matches weren't that significant, because you could lose, in the regional and still be one of 5 to make it to states and make your run there. We've seen it happen. And I'm probably the wrong guy to talk to about this, because I always liked the fact that college football, when they didn't have a playoff, how important all those games were. You lose one game, you're potentially out of it. And the more you expand that and the more you bring into it, the less important those earlier matches or games become. So right now, you talking about it, I'm like, man, these weekends before we get to Hershey are going to be really exciting.
I mean, there's going to be wars. I mean, look at some of the districts.
Look at that AAA bracket with the Northwest, the Southwest, and the South Central.
Yeah,
you're taking 4 guys out of there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's going to be some really, really good wrestling with 4 guys coming out of there, and so the stakes are raised. I mean, we talked about it. It sucks for somebody that they're good enough to be in Hershey and they're not going to make it there. But man, it's going to make that weekend before a lot of fun.
It really is, and
for us, not for them, but for us.
Well, yeah, right. It's certainly not a system I want to continue with going with after COVID-19. However, the complaint is always going to be the depth. District 7 has depth. There's certain weight classes where you could say, other districts have a lot of depth in those brackets. So that's all. You're always going to have those complaints. But again, I'm just through the roof and over the moon that they actually are contemplating putting on winter postseasons such as wrestling. So, this is great for us. I think it's a step in the right direction. Is it perfect? No. Is it quote fair? Probably, maybe not. But guess what? It's something. And right now in 2020, heading into 2021, I'll take something over nothing any day of the week, Eric. So that is all the time we have tonight for the Power Hour. We went through a whole heck of a lot. We talked about the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. We also broke down the potential. Now, I want to reiterate, Eric, these are just proposals. This is nothing official. This is nothing that's set in stone. These are just proposals that are probably going to be presented. That's it. So don't take this down as written in stone. It's just a proposal. I'm sure a lot is going to change, and a lot could change based on the capacity limits, based on where our COVID-19 numbers are. It's just, again, Eric, what did we say last week? It's a fluid situation.
Yeah, and hopefully this doesn't have to happen. Hopefully, things get better. What I'd heard from the beginning is that November, December was probably going to be the worst time for this. Your traditional cold and flu season, same thing. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of January, beginning of February, they're looking at it and going, you know what? Our numbers are down. We've hospitalizations down, deaths are down. Let's, maybe we can get back to it. That might be a pipe dream, but we have this plan in place that if we have to, we can still do a smaller scaled down version of the postseason tournaments. And if we can have a different, bigger version, wonderful. Let's do that, but let's at least have a plan in place. Hoping is not a plan.
You are right. In fact, hope is not a plan. It's something you hope for. You go back to those wrestlers in the NCAA tournament that lost, that didn't have the chance to wrestle in the national tournament. I'm sure most of them would say, yeah, I'd be willing to do whatever it is to take to wrestle in that tournament, and at least give me a shot, give me a chance. And this allows wrestlers to have a chance, have a shot. So, Eric, that's all the time we have tonight here on the Power Hour, but don't worry, we will be back next week, most likely on a Tuesday or Wednesday, depending. It's going to be either Tuesday or Wednesday to talk about the Power Hour. Hopefully by then, Eric's going to have a nice camera. He's going to have a nice microphone stand like I do. You're going to be a real professional. You may have a better studio, but I got better hair, so
You have hair.
true, I have hair. But Eric, thank you for your time tonight, and stay tuned to PAPowerWrestling.com. Check us out on Rockfin. We got a whole lot of stuff coming up, including the top incoming freshman report of 2021. This is a big one, Eric. Excited to get this one out here if Dyson ever does his job. So let's.
Wow, you are tough, man.
I'm tough on him. I'm tough on him. Ever since
Child labor laws.
Yeah, don't worry about that. They're not worried about that right now. They're worried about COVID. Worry about Thanksgiving. Which happy Thanksgiving, Eric. I didn't get to tell you that. Happy Thanksgiving. I have to work tomorrow, but I am going to have a little bit of turkey before I head into work. So I hope you do as well.
All right, well, stay safe out there, Jeff. I know we bust on you, but we appreciate all that you do. No, seriously, we do.
Thanks, Eric.
You have a hard job, and we really do appreciate what you do. And stay safe. Keep the people of Pittsburgh safe, and try to enjoy the holiday once you get off of work a little bit.
All right, Eric. I appreciate that, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
See ya.